What's up, everyone, and welcome back to our Clone Wars Chronological Rewatch. Today we're talking about A War on Two Fronts. This is, I think, our first Season 5 episode, although it's Season 5, Episode 2, and it's the first episode of the Onderon arc, and we get a lot in here. There's Saw Gerrera, Steela Gerrera, Lux returns, so, yeah.
This is the first introduction of Saw?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's fun watching these again after watching like Star Wars Rebels or Rogue One, Star Wars Rebels, Fallen Order. He's appeared in a ton of stories at this point.
Yeah.
They really like to show his evolution, but it's fun seeing the beginning and just being like, yep, this fits.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they didn't write Rogue One with the intention of like, oh yeah, and Saw Gerrera will be in this. They were like, we need a militant rebel leader who doesn't quite gel with the rebellion. And they were like, we've got one, which that's just fun. I like that.
Yeah. He was there to like take in Jyn, teach her how to fight and be like a little bit extreme, and then to abandon her and go crazy.
And over the course of this arc, you definitely just see the seeds of a lot of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I will probably talk about this multiple times over the next 4 episodes, but I still love in the Rogue One comic adaptation, his final words are Steela. And I'm like, I get why you couldn't have done that in Rogue One, because most people would be like, who's Steela? But it's such a nice touch to have in stuff like the comics.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Onderon rebels call for help because their planet is under control of the Separatists. They aligned with the Separatists early in the war, but there are rebels there who don't like it, and they request the aid of the Jedi. And the episode starts with this debate on whether or not they should, because they're like, they kind of sound like terrorists. And that's it. Kind of plays into the whole theme of this episode, which is fear is a malleable weapon. And there are a lot of ways that you can use fear. And basically, the Jedi argument, especially from Yoda, is like, we can't use fear as a weapon. He specifically says, a means to an end, fear cannot be. Stop those who spread terror, the Jedi must. So they're kind of looking at the two groups, and I guess they decide that the droids are spreading more fear, and the terrorists, the insurgents, are spreading hope.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I mean, the Jedi just in general love to pick and choose what they are going to help with and what they aren't going to get involved in.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's true. And I think it's something that, especially now that we're like getting into the High Republic, we're seeing that they act more quickly. They still have these debates, but they're just like, we see someone in need and we're going to help, and we'll figure out the philosophical ramifications later.
Mm-hmm.
And I like seeing that side of them. But it's not a bad debate to have. Obi-Wan says, like, the way we conduct war is what sets us apart from others. But it's interesting that if we had continued with the Clone Wars, we would have gotten stories like Dark Disciple, where the Jedi are like, okay, it's time to try to assassinate someone. Like, they keep giving up more and more moral ground to just end the war.
Yeah.
And, like, they do kind of use fear as a means to an end.
Yeah. I mean, I like a lot from this episode. I like the whole, like, training montage where they're trying to teach them how to use these, like, they're like little power grenades that are supposed to
I think they call them droid poppers.
Yeah, they're supposed to just, like, be an ion weapon that, like, will disable droids, but sometimes they explode.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they do. They were training with all the ion weapons, but then when, at the end of the episode, they all get attacked, and they're like, nope, straight to bombs. Which, you know, that is interesting, because Anakin states at the early debate, he's like, we'll use weapons that are only good against droids. And they don't do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They go straight to just kind of what they know and what they know that they're good at. But we get some interesting stuff with Saw and Lux, too, in this episode, where they're kind of butting heads. They don't really want to work together, but in the end they do.
Yeah, that's one of like the relationship arcs of this episode, I'd say, mostly, where, yeah, they don't like each other at first, but over the course of the episode, they learn to work together and find some mutual respect. The whole fear thing is definitely something that goes throughout this arc. We'll talk about that again in the next episode, but yeah, it's just fun to see Anakin train the people who are basically going to be fighting him in a few years. Like he's training the seeds of rebellion.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
That's a fun little parallel. But yeah, it's a good episode. It's a good arc. So we'll continue talking about it next time. But if you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitch.
And consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.